is honestly the worst case scenario for the British monarchy. It would be one.
Harry and Meghan are moving back to Britain. Yes, that is correct.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are leaving the US to go back to the UK?
Harry and Meghan are moving back to the UK. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be relocating from California with their 2 children.
Something has changed in the story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and the decision is far more significant than simply changing countries.
I completely agree, Dan. This is horrible for the British taxpayers, for sure.
Okay, because the idea that Harry and Meghan are coming back here just to be private citizens is delusional.
Meghan Markle stands for nothing because she said these people drove her to want to take her life, that they ruined her mental health, they treated her horribly, she was crying, they had to flee the country.
Prince Harry and Meghan intend to relocate from the US later this month to a private, non-royal residence outside of London.
After 6 years in California, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are preparing to establish a private life in Britain again, this time with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet enrolled at a British school for September. The move is expected to place the family in a private, non-royal residence outside London, while their Montecito home and property in Portugal remain part of their wider arrangements.
Harry and Meghan are moving back to the UK with their kids, Archie and Lilibet. Not only are they moving back, they're doing it in a couple weeks. They are going to be starting school in the UK this September. I am blown away. This was all revealed in a big, long People magazine article that just dropped. In fact, I gave a more emotional, honest reaction to this news. My initial reaction over on Popcorn Palace. Did you know we have a royal channel? This is one of my opportunities to tell you. We got a royal channel over there. Typically, you'll find stories about Meghan and Harry over there.
The important distinction is that this is not being presented as a return to official royal duties. Harry and Meghan are expected to remain private, non-working members of the royal family, with no current plan for either of them to resume formal royal engagements on behalf of the crown.
This story is too big to not talk about on both channels. This is a huge and shocking turn of events I did not see coming.
Yes, they are on their way back, folks. The dastardly duo, the fake Duke and Duchess, have tonight confirmed a return to the United Kingdom. They informed King Charles on Sunday.
Well, we understand that this story, first reported by the Daily Telegraph in the UK, is correct. We've checked with 2 different senior royal sources who say that
Harry can continue his charitable work, particularly through the Invictus Games and Well Child, while Meghan is expected to continue developing her lifestyle business and other projects. So the immediate change is geographic and personal, not constitutional. They are moving closer to the institution they left without formally rejoining it.
Buckingham Palace confirms they'll continue living as private citizens. CBC's Sarah Galashan is following the story. So, you know, I work at the CBC's London Bureau just down the road from Buckingham Palace. And while I have no insider knowledge of this, there were some signs something might be coming up. More visits by Harry, perhaps a little bit of a thawing. What are you hearing?
Wow. Well, this is good news to hear from you. There's a little bit of intel here. I mean, it was first reported by the Daily Telegraph and the Sun, and then, of course, as you say...
But the timing is what makes this decision so interesting. King Charles was reportedly informed of the plans on a Sunday, even though Harry and Meghan had already met him at Highgrove in July.
That July meeting matters because it was the first time in roughly 4 years that Charles had seen Archie and Lilibet in person. The visit was described as a private family occasion, and reports suggested that relations between father and son had shown some warmth after years of tension.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are moving back to the UK. There were rumours swirling around about this a little earlier on today, but now it has been confirmed. So it's a Megxit bombshell, I'm afraid.
Are enrolled to start at a British school in September. There are no current plans for either the Duke or Duchess of Sussex to reprise their official working roles within the royal family. However, the move raises the prospect that they could do so in the future. The King was informed of the news on Sunday. It was not discussed when the Sussexes visited him at Highgrove in July. it is understood.
Yet the return plans were apparently not discussed during that meeting, meaning the king learned about the family's relocation only later. That creates an unusual situation in which a major change to the Sussex family's future was already developing while the wider royal family was not publicly discussing it.
We understand that he has welcomed the opportunity to see more of the Sussex family in a private and personal capacity. And as you said, there is no plan for Prince Harry to become a working royal again, so to begin doing formal royal visits and engagements, something he stopped in 2020 when the late Queen decided that that's how he should operate in future.
And it seems very clear they gave it to people that this was, in fact, happening. This is a huge decision. And yeah, they're moving to Britain with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. They will establish a private non-royal home base in Britain while retaining their home in Montecito, as well as their home in Portugal. How are they affording 3 homes?
Well, there you go. That in itself is very interesting, isn't it? Were some of the schools around California not quite good enough for them, I wonder? They want to give those children a good British education, despite fleeing the country, it not being safe for them, and them saying some very disparaging things about our country and indeed our royal family over the last few years. But they have decided, it appears, to educate their children here. The Sussexes...
There is another major factor, security. Harry has repeatedly argued that bringing his family back to Britain would require stronger protection.
However, the king is clear that the Duke and Duchess's status as non-working royals and private individuals, in keeping with their previously expressed wishes, will remain unchanged. My addition, for now. The Prince and Princess of Wales have also been informed of the news. The Duke and Duchess's security arrangements have not been disclosed, but there has been no announcement of any change. All of a sudden it makes sense, doesn't it, why Harry has been so determined to force Ravik to change their mind on this.
It was a surprise. I think that's certainly true. Having said that, there were signs that this might have been coming. In July, the Sussexes met the King at Highgrove, one of his residences, and that meeting went very well. It was the first time that he has seen Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, who's 7 and 5, for the last 4 years.
That concern has been central to his legal and public disputes since leaving the UK. The available reporting does not establish that Harry has been given a new VIP police security arrangement, but there has been speculation that he may have received assurances sufficient for the family to feel more comfortable returning.
Feel like they've pulled it off. They've successfully executed it. Now that's what they were proposing back in 2019. And now they are sort of seemingly, well, we did it. Now, Harry wants to be able to spend more time with his charities, including Scotty's Little Soldiers, Well Child, as well as Invictus Games. And then Meghan will be leading her lifestyle company as ever, pursuing future projects, because as we've learned, as ever is not faring too well. That's really what's happening. And spoiler alert of my other longer video, I do want to give you a tease of it here.
As to when everyone got news of this, of course, the public is learning about this today. According to reports in the United Kingdom, the King learned about it on Sunday, and as well, Prince William has since been informed about this as well. This is despite the fact, and you mentioned this, the fact that there have been these other visits, July being a notable one, where both Meghan and Harry, for the first time since 2022...
At the same time, the security issue remains unresolved, in the sense that there has been no announcement restoring the level of protection Harry previously sought. His decision to return therefore represents a substantial change in circumstances, even though the underlying dispute has not simply disappeared.
And the children are at the center of the practical side of this move. Archie...
That Prince Harry and his daughter-in-law Meghan Markle are returning to Britain. So that is a point that is worth emphasising, that they had a little bit of a reunion with King Charles last month. They've found a home here in the UK. Presumably they've spent quite a bit of time finding a school for their children. And
In a statement released in 2021, following a 12-month review of their situation, Elizabeth II confirmed that the couple would not continue with the responsibilities and duties that come with a life of public service. She had made it clear that they could not maintain a half-in, half-out approach to royal duties while also pursuing commercial opportunities. The Duke and Duchess responded by saying, "We can all live a life of service. Service is universal." What swines. What absolute swines. Harry was stripped of his honorary military titles but has continued to support a handful of charities. The couple believe they have since proved that the half-in, half-out model does work.
Archie and Lilibet are expected to begin school in Britain in September.
That detail makes the decision considerably more substantial than another short visit. The family is reportedly establishing a private British home while retaining their existing bases in Montecito and Portugal, and the exact location of both the residence and school is being kept private. Harry is also expected to have a more direct connection with his UK-based charitable commitments, something that is naturally easier when he is physically present in Britain rather than operating from California.
And also, he has been trying to get that better security that he's wanted for some time in the UK. Now, we have not heard that he's been offered a better security, a VIP police security package in the UK, but perhaps he's been given some assurances that, as I said earlier, one of his major concerns that his family will be exposed to two potential threats, as he would see them, the media in the UK and also some sort of fixated individual who might want to try to get...
For Meghan, however, the expectation is that her professional activities will continue from the couple's international bases rather than becoming part of any royal structure.
That brings the story back to the unresolved question of what their new life in Britain actually means.
But yeah, security has always been the obstacle. And they wanted taxpayer-funded security. They were pushing for a while, but ultimately it didn't work. They didn't get it. Now he gets security, mind you, but he doesn't get the like ultra super level royal security that he really wanted. He has to pay extra for that. He has continued pressing the issue. He still continued to press the issue.
However, as I have reported here on Outspoken, because we are on very much ahead on the curve of these things, Harry and Meghan were considering putting the Montecito mansion on the market, and they wanted an off-market sale. Hence one of the reasons why they have recently been showing off the redesigned kitchen. But anyone who thinks that Harry and Meghan are doing this because they love the United Kingdom or because they love their family,
they are returning to a country where their family relationships remain complicated, where Harry has fought over security, and where his relationship with Prince William has been described as distant.
The distinction between returning home and returning to a royal life is therefore crucial.
And they're clearly seeing weakness, and they want to pounce because they know if they wait until William is king, or if they do it too late, William can basically undo all their royal titles and everything, and the royalty is the only thing that's selling for them. So they desperately need to reestablish this. This will be an absolute nightmare for Catherine and William. It'll be a nightmare for the British monarchy. This is something they do not need. And I'm sure we'll see Harry and Meghan during the Sandringham walk. They'll start to insert themselves more and more. And Charles, as we've seen, especially even inviting Andrew to Balmoral, has been very firm that blood is blood. And I think Harry is on his route back in, and I think Meghan will probably follow too. As ever, despite her insistence that it's a smashing success, I think has been an abysmal failure. They failed out of Hollywood. We just have to look at Cookie Queens to see that. And so they're going back. They're going back in their fallback career and slinking back to the UK. And
Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle, are moving back to the UK 6 years after leaving the United States. They will make that shock return at the end of August for an extended period with kids Archie and Lilibet enrolling at school here.
Harry can be highly visible through charitable engagements without becoming a working royal, and that difference was emphasized repeatedly in the reporting surrounding the move. His September commitments, including work connected to Well Child and Invictus, could place him back in the British public sphere much more frequently, even while his formal status remains unchanged.
When they appeared to have this, idyllic life in Montecito, they've made no secret of their disillusionment with their current White House. With the midterm elections approaching, concerns about the direction of the U.S. loom large for many. So now they're trying to spin it as, well, it's because of Trump and the U.S. isn't good, so we're leaving. Oh, whatever it takes. Good riddance. Get out of this country, please.
It really does, Dan. This is honestly the worst case scenario for the British monarchy. It would be one thing if they had moved to Portugal and Harry was coming more, but this truly is the worst case because this is them firmly setting up their alternative royal court in the UK. They are going to force in their half in, half out. And I think looking back at this meeting with Charles and them not telling him, I think they were gauging how he would react to something like this, trying to figure out how soft he would be.
Working royals for 6 years now. Any suggestion about what comes next, what they might do when they're there?
I mean, so there's talk, would they return to royal duties from the palace? We're understanding that that is not going to be in the cards. What they often do communicate on social media via Instagram accounts. I'll say that their official royal Instagram account, the last update remains 2020. But this is what we're seeing on the Archwell account, the Sussex Archwell, which is their.
The result is a situation in which the Sussexes can live in Britain, raise their children there, and participate in public charitable activity without automatically regaining the institutional role they abandoned in 2020.
That is why this move carries so much weight. It brings Harry and Meghan physically closer to the royal family again.
But become a bit of a lifestyle guru, a businesswoman, if you like, with a lifestyle brand. It's really hard to quantify how well that business is doing, but presumably, bearing in mind all of the products available with her As Ever brand are only available within the United States. You cannot buy them in Britain here. You can't buy them. The fact that she's willing to move back to the United Kingdom, a place where these products aren't available, suggests to me that the business is not doing as well as perhaps you would be led to believe.
That is a very interesting point, yes, because if Meghan was the Duchess of Montecito, she was...
Get close to them, that has been mitigated in some way. So there are plenty of moving parts here, but he does seem that he is happy to come back to the UK.
Tom, this is certainly big news. Are we seeing any reaction yet?
But it does not erase the decisions, disputes, and agreements that separated them from official royal life.
It also changes the environment around their children, who will now have a much more direct connection to British life and to their royal relatives. King Charles has reportedly welcomed the opportunity to see more of his family privately, while the palace position remains that Harry and Meghan will continue as private individuals.
I thought it would have perhaps eased a little bit by now, to be honest, but there has been no movement, especially on William's side. A close source to Harry has told People in July. Still, Harry told the BBC that he hoped to heal the rift. I would love to reconcile with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. Then why'd you start? That's always what I ask. If you're wondering why I feel this way, or why the people don't like Meghan, actually, a good time to plug for all our members on the website. Not only are we working on It Ends with Justice, but you can go over, we did a whole documentary called With Hate Meghan, which
For now, that is the clearest dividing line. The family may be coming back to Britain, but the terms under which they left the royal institution have not been formally reversed.
The decision becomes even more complicated when you look back at how Harry and Meghan left Britain.
It's desirable, if possible, to close the rift and move on. In this case, it was very, very difficult, short of some form of apology and also some sort of organization whereby the royal family actually knew what was happening and could respond. Now we know that, in fact, the king was only informed on Sunday, and I'm assuming that he wasn't told or indeed didn't know before. What I wonder, do they expect the royal family to do? I mean,
their departure was not simply a change of address. It followed a major dispute over what their future as members of the royal family was supposed to look like.
In 2020, the Sussexes stepped away from their roles as senior working royals and eventually established their life in California. The central disagreement was whether they could remain connected to the royal institution while also pursuing independent commercial opportunities, a model that became associated with the phrase half in, half out.
A huge and overwhelming success. He has had some media deals, some documentaries and that sort of thing. He's done some charity work in the US through his Archwell project, his Archwell charity. And as I said, the Duchess of Sussex has been running, as ever, her lifestyle business. But back here in the UK, he will be much more present in the culture of the UK.
Yet they supposedly only told King Charles on Sunday that they would actually be coming back. They're going to move into a non-royal residence. We haven't got our panel here tonight, but our royal correspondent Cameron Walker has hot-footed it into the studio for us. Cameron, thank you very, very much. Very significant news, this. Harry and Meghan are moving back to Britain.
Incredibly significant news, and GB News can confirm that the story is accurate. Harry and Meghan are, after 6 years out of the United States, moving back to the United Kingdom. Both Archie and Lilibet, as you say, Patrick, will be enrolling in school. It's understood that the King was informed on Sunday. Clearly, this raises now a number of questions. First of all, let's look back to 2020.
The late Queen Elizabeth II made clear that the couple could not continue with official royal responsibilities while simultaneously operating a separate commercial life on their own terms. Harry and Meghan nevertheless went forward with their independent projects, and Harry was later stripped of his honorary military titles while continuing to support charitable causes.
Philanthropic and business account, and it's a picture of the two of them, and the caption is simply a heart. You can see there's a little bit of ocean there, so I'm thinking that's the California Ocean there behind them. I mean, I think everyone who is a royal follower is trying to read any of the tea leaves they can, but, you know, she's been involved in podcasts and a Netflix series. He has continued with the Invictus Games, so presumably that's the road they carry on.
Sarah Galashan, thank you. So Carolyn Harris is a royal commentator and a historian, and Carolyn's with me now. Are you surprised by this at all?
What followed made the separation much harder to repair. Oprah Winfrey, the Netflix documentary series, and Harry's memoir, Spare, all brought intensely personal accusations into public view.
Those revelations placed the royal family under extraordinary pressure and deepened the divide between Harry and Prince William in particular.
This is the king being weak. I'm just going to say it because the mainstream media will not say it. He says, in keeping with their clearly expressed wishes and agreements over past years. Yeah, they've changed their mind. They've changed their mind, Richard, because they realise they're not making the money. They're hated in Hollywood. They're not even invited to the Oscars or the Emmys. So King Charles has to wake up, okay? Because the idea that Harry and Meghan are coming back here just to be private citizens is delusional.
It simply isn't in accordance with what we know, and we know they're ruthless. I mean, Meghan, I agree. I don't think
Harry too. They're both ruthless.
Meghan spoke publicly about severe difficulties with her mental health during her time as a working royal, while the couple also discussed sensitive conversations inside the family, including questions surrounding the anticipated appearance of their first child. Harry then continued to revisit his relationship with the institution and his family through interviews and his memoirs.
Been living for the last, some years. He's also had a place in Portugal for a while now as well. We don't know where he's going to live, and that's going to be of huge interest, and I think it's going to be a major story here. It's going to dominate for the weeks before he comes back and when he does come back.
Whatever one's interpretation of those events, the consequence is clear. The Sussexes did not simply leave Britain quietly, and their return now takes place against a history that remains highly visible.
There's also the matter of their old British home. Frogmore Cottage is no longer available to them in the way it once was.
The couple's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, are thought to be enrolled to start at a British school in September. There are no current plans for either Harry or Meghan to resume their roles as working royals. Well, let's go straight then to our news correspondent, Tom Simons. Tom, good to have you with us. What more do we know?
People are going to be very upset with this and them coming back. And it is a failure. I can't deny that. They did. I explain in much more depth in the other channel, and I'll explain mine, have some fun with you guys. But this is not a winning move. And so, you know, this People article is saying a lot of the pros and spinning this in their favor. But the reality is they've had a lot of failures, a lot of backlash, and a lot of people want nothing to do with them.
The property had been associated with Harry and Meghan after Queen Elizabeth provided it as their UK base, but they later relinquished the lease and were vacated from the residence following the publication of Spare. That means their new British home will be a completely different arrangement, described as private and non-royal rather than an official royal residence.
Clearly, everything was fine because now you're running back the second you need a little bit of dough, and PhD, Papa has dough. So they're going back to King Charles, and it's just like clockwork, it's textbook. Everybody can see through it. It's so transparent. But the last thing I'll say, not to hog the floor, I don't think anyone in the UK should trust them again. I don't think Prince William will ever trust them again. I don't think Catherine. If King Charles wants to let his son back in his life, I understand he's the only parent. I get that. And King Charles, we have some other criticisms of him as well. We love him, but we have some critiques as well with protecting the West. But I just think it's interesting that they're going crawling back now. But no one's going to trust them because they've done tell-all books, reality shows, docu-series, Oprah interviews, everything time and time again. And I just think past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior.
The distinction is important because it reinforces the palace's position that the Sussexes are returning as private family members, not as working representatives of the crown.
If Prince William has found out about this, on Sunday, it's a few days on from that now, and he has not had a phone call with his brother about the fact that he's moving back. I do want to ask you, before we play another couple of clips, and we'll go to our panel, but the security aspect of it, huge issue, huge reason. I do not feel safe in the UK. My children are not safe in the UK, and yet they have decided to come back to Britain to enrol their children in a British school.
Well, I have been kind of saying that something like this was going to happen for months now, but I did also think I was going slightly mad when I was saying it, so it's quite life-affirming in a way to have it now actually happen. But Tom was absolutely right. The signs were there. The Sussexes scaled down their US charity. It used to be the Archwell Foundation.
Yet there is a genuine personal reason Harry has repeatedly given for wanting to be closer to Britain. He has spoken about missing the country and wanting his children to experience British life.
That argument has become more relevant now that Archie and Lilibet are old enough for their education to shape their everyday environment.
And there have been legal cases concerning this matter, which King Charles III, as head of state, cannot involve himself in these matters. So Prince Harry has clearly had some issues unfolding in the United Kingdom, and now we're seeing a change in direction after that private meeting with King Charles and Queen Camilla at Highgrove.
Living in Britain would give them greater access to their father's homeland and potentially more regular contact with members of the extended royal family, although there is no guarantee that those relationships will immediately become close. Harry's charitable commitments also provide a practical reason for spending more time in Britain, particularly because Invictus Games and Well Child have substantial UK connections.
So them, and they're out of money. That's another big thing, right? As ever, the jams. Are you a supporter of Meghan? Have you bought her jam? I did. It was not very good, to be honest. And I do think they need the UK now more than ever. So to come back after Megxit and the big thing they did, calling out the royal family, to me, this just proves they should have stayed as royals. They would have had a better life. Just suck it up. What were they doing? Their entitlement was their downfall. We're seeing it again firsthand. Will this heal any rifts? No. In fact, I think it's going to strain the rifts further. They're going to be competing in appearances with William and Catherine.
From that perspective, the move can be understood as a combination of family, education, geography, and professional commitments rather than one single motivation.
But the financial question has also become part of the discussion. Harry's recent legal battles have created additional pressure.
I can't stay here. She is setting me up.
So he's forcing her. He's forcing her hand. I'm going back with the children. I agree. This is why it was so sudden. This is exactly why it's so sudden. What's Meghan going to do if Harry says, I'm going back with the kids? What is she going to do? He has every legal right to go back with these children. Meghan doesn't want to go, but now her cards have been played. She doesn't have a chance now, because now this is going to be on UK soil when she or Harry decides to leave. Now he's got the upper hand with his family and the children already in school being established.
But as you say, the prince and his family will be back in the UK within weeks, living at some residence outside London, not a royal residence, but presumably somewhere where the prince feels that one of his concerns, security, will be met. And that the king was told about this on Sunday.
Reporting in the material points to a significant legal bill following Harry's recent court loss involving the publisher of the Daily Mail, although some of those costs were reportedly insured. At the same time, the couple have continued maintaining property interests in both California and Portugal while preparing another private base in Britain.
Give money to other charities. Harry has shown absolutely no no interest in America since 2024. The last time he said anything positive about America was before Donald Trump was re-elected. And, you know, back in February 2024, he was kind of very, very positive, saying, America is my home, it's wonderful. And then at some point, he just kind of soured on it. And I cannot help but think that the re-election of President Trump...
There is no reliable evidence in these sources that the Sussexes are running out of money, so claims that the move is purely financial should be treated as speculation rather than established fact. What can be said is that the family's international property arrangements and continuing business activities make the financial side of the relocation an obvious subject of public interest.
Meghan's professional position is also different from Harry's. Her work does not require her to become part of the royal institution again.
She is expected to continue operating her lifestyle business and pursuing future projects while Harry becomes more involved with UK-based charities and patronages.